bullfighters absorbing crushing blows to save riders' lives, to champions walking the razor's edge between glory and catastrophe. These are 10 bull riding wrecks that went terribly wrong. At number 10, Jesse Byrne thought his job was done when the rider cleared safely at Madison Square Garden in 2015.
He needs it.
Then walking through white decided the bullfighter looked like unfinished business. What followed was a textbook example of why these protection athletes face death every single night.
All the way to
number 7. He's going to make it right now, 7, 168 and a quarter. He's 86 points behind the lead.
Byrne absorbed a horn-to-shoulder collision that could have punctured vital organs. The impact sent him spinning like a broken toy, but somehow he stayed on his feet. That's the difference between a close call and a funeral. The rider walked away clean. Byrne limped away grateful, because in this business, sometimes the guy saving lives needs saving himself. That's the unspoken code of the arena. Warriors protecting warriors, even when it means absorbing punishment meant for someone else. But if you think that was close, Gage Gay at number 9 discovered why they call certain bulls widow makers. Jack Schott had earned his reputation in San Jose 2016 as a rider crusher with surgical precision.
Gay takes a shot.
Gay launched skyward like he'd been fired from a cannon. The whip snap motion nearly separated his head from his shoulders. His body contorted in ways the human spine was never designed to handle.
Down the corner, that it's going to put so much pressure on his riding hand, and there has never been a guy, and there never will be a guy that.
But here's what saved him. No hang up, no stomp, just pure velocity meeting gravity. He hit the dirt hard enough to rattle every bone in his body, but walked away with nothing worse than wounded pride and scrambled thoughts. That's what we call a $1 million landing in a sport where inches determine whether you go home or go to the morgue. Sometimes luck is the only skill that matters. Now at number 8, physics turned Mahon into a weapon against Clay Geaton in Los Angeles, 2024.
Bulls should be about round to the right and get to moving a little.
They call it the human pinwheel, and once you see it, you'll understand why spinning out of control is a cowboy's worst nightmare.
Pulls a lot of guys down over his shoulder, though. I think Solano's the only guy I've seen.
Geaton got a slingshot from the bull with violent rotational torque. His body spun like a helicopter rotor gone haywire, each revolution building deadly momentum. One wrong angle, one bad landing, and we're talking about permanent paralysis. The arena went silent watching a human being become a projectile. But somehow, impossibly, he landed in the one spot that didn't destroy everything he'd ever worked for. When you're spinning that fast, you're not thinking, Geaton said later. You're just hoping physics decides to be merciful. While Geaton defied the laws of motion, Brian Tittman at number 7 learned why 2,000 pounds of angry bull doesn't discriminate.
Keep that weight over your legs and have good transfer of balance with good timing, then your feet don't even come into play.
Las Vegas, 2015. Bluegrass had just bucked him clean, and for a split second, Tittman thought he'd escaped unscathed.
Boy, this is a great ride, and he had an answer for everything, just matching the bull's intensity. He didn't get his heels clicked till right at the end. This is always scary. You can see those.
Then Bluegrass's hoof found its target. One precise step onto Tittman's torso that could have caved in his ribcage like an accordion. The sickening thud echoed through the arena like a sledgehammer meeting flesh. But this is where luck lives in the margins. Single hoof, not multiple stomps. Upper body, not skull. Conscious, not comatose. Tittman absorbed punishment that would hospitalize most humans, yet somehow avoided the internal bleeding that turns close calls into obituaries. That's the difference between walking out and being carried out in this unforgiving arena. Although Tittman caught a break, Stetson Lawrence at number 6 faced every rider's recurring nightmare in Milwaukee 2018.
But he's been very spotty with his riding lately.
The hang-up, when your hand becomes a death trap and you're completely at the bull's mercy. Lawrence's hand locked onto Barncat like it was welded in place. What followed was a masterclass in how quickly salvation turns to torture. Barn Cat spun Lawrence like a broken marionette, each violent rotation threatening to separate his shoulder from its socket or snap his neck like kindling. The bullfighters moved with desperate urgency, recognizing that every second increased the odds of catastrophic injury. Multiple spins, high entanglement risk, death circling like a vulture. When you're hung up, time stops, Lawrence explained later. Every spin feels like an eternity where you're calculating whether this rotation will be your last. He finally broke free just as his body was reaching its breaking point. Another second and we might have been talking about a very different ending, but prolonged hang-ups can get worse, as Zach Brown discovered at number 5. Anaheim, 2013. Straight Pipe wasn't content with just bucking Brown off. He wanted to make a statement. The hang-up turned into a prolonged drag session where Brown became a human mop across the arena floor.
They're fairly easy for us, Craig.
And Ty, that just becomes self-preservation from the rider standpoint, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, take a look at these bullfighters. You can see how they, always one guy tries.
Tethered and helpless, Brown absorbed hoof strikes that should have shattered bones. Each drag exposed him to new angles of potential destruction. His body was being used as a weapon against itself. The medical team prepared for the worst as Brown finally broke free, expecting to find broken ribs, internal bleeding, or worse. Instead, they found a cowboy who'd somehow survived being a bull's personal punching bag. "I thought I was a goner," Brown admitted later. When you're dragging behind 2,000 pounds of fury, you start making peace with never seeing your family again. While Brown survived prolonged torture, Chase Outlaw at number 4 faced a double dose of destruction.
Third event on tour.
World Finals, Las Vegas. Modified Clyde had already established his reputation as a career ender. First came the hang-up that trapped Outlaw in a vulnerable position. Then came the body shot that nearly finished what the entanglement started.
Clyde has his way with the Arkansas man.
Well, you see when he loses his balance, he's not able to keep his feet down. But take a look at our bullfighters right here. Now, one guy wants to try to pick up his head and try to straighten him out. You can see Shorty Gorham step in there, grab the
compounding effect of being both trapped and hammered created a perfect storm of potential catastrophe. Each hit, while hung up, multiplies the damage exponentially. Outlaw absorbed punishment that would have ended most careers, but somehow escaped with his spine intact and his future still possible. This was just another entry in Outlaw's catalog of near-death experiences. The same warrior who would later survive complete facial reconstruction and return to ride again. At number 3, physics met flesh when JB Mooney encountered Come Together in Sacramento.
And a half down to 86 1/4. That means JB will come back.
Every rider's nightmare scenario where gravity becomes the enemy. Come Together launched Mooney skyward, then let physics do the killing. The violent slam drove him into the dirt with bone-crushing force.
And then he's just in a bad position.
How about that Jesse Byrne and Frank Newsom right there cleaning up that mess? You guys did a great job right there, Justin.
Back, waist, and legs absorbed an impact that should have resulted in paralysis or worse. The collision echoed through the arena like thunder splitting the earth. But this is JB Mooney we're talking about, the man who turned suffering into an art form. He walked away from impacts that would have hospitalized ordinary humans, adding another withdrawal from his physical bank account that finally went bankrupt years later. "Every slam teaches you something," Mooney said. "Mostly, it teaches you how close death likes to get before backing away." While Mooney survived, Austin Meyer at number 2 faced the single highest risk scenario in all of bull riding. World Finals 2012. King Lopez delivered the stomp that defines nightmares. Direct hoof-to-body contact during the scramble phase when riders are most vulnerable and exposed.
It's on him. See these hind legs when they come down right there, right on the back of
the stomp landed with surgical precision on Meyer's leg, carrying enough force to shatter bones like glass. This is the moment where careers end and families get phone calls no one wants to receive. The crowd fell silent, recognizing they'd witnessed the type of impact that changes everything. Medical teams rushed across the arena, expecting to find internal damage that required immediate surgery. But somehow, impossibly, Meyer's vital organs remained intact. The stomp that should have been fatal became became just another scar in a sport where scars tell stories of survival. When 2,000 pounds steps on you, you don't walk away the same person. One veteran observer noted, "You walk away grateful you can walk away at all." But what happened to Frank Newsome at number 1 redefined heroism under pressure. A T&T Stadium, Arlington. Juan Contreras was down and defenseless when Crazy Times decided to finish the job. This is where bullfighters earn their reputation as the unsung heroes of the sport. Newsome moved to intercept 2,000 pounds of fury, heading straight for a helpless rider.
That's right, but I think this bull is just slowly working his hand out of the rope, and I think that's what finally happened. Now watch Frank Newsome. He steps into the gap and says, "You know what? If we got to get hooked, pick me." And
what followed was the most brutal display of sacrifice the sport has ever witnessed. Crazy Times hammered Newsome mid-save with devastating force, turning the protector into the victim. 2 lives hung in the balance. The downed rider, defenseless and exposed. The bullfighter, absorbing punishment meant for someone else. Newsome took the hit that was destined for Contreras. His body absorbed the impact like a human shield, accepting destruction to prevent catastrophe. "That's what we do," Newsome said later. "We absorb the hits so cowboys can go home to their families. Sometimes that means we don't go home the same way we came to work." Both men survived that night. Contreras because Newsome intercepted a certain disaster. Newsome because sometimes courage creates its own miracles. The footage still gives veteran cowboys nightmares. Not because of what happened, but because of what almost happened. 2 careers, 2 families, 2 futures all hanging on the split-second decision of one man to step into harm's way. These wrecks remind us that in bull riding, the line between triumph and tragedy is measured in inches, split seconds, and sometimes the selfless actions of heroes who wear no capes, just Wrangler jeans, and the knowledge that someone's life depends on their courage. Every ride is a roll of the dice. Every landing is a prayer answered, and every cowboy who climbs over the rails knows that 8 seconds can feel like forever when death is keeping time. But that's what separates these warriors from ordinary mortals. They've all stared death in the face and lived to tell about it. They've felt the cold breath of catastrophe on their necks and somehow found the strength to keep climbing back on. Because true cowboys don't just ride bulls, they ride the edge between destruction and glory.